We are going to, how do you say, meal plan. I mean, every day I'm planning what's for supper, but meal planning is for like future now. Like I supper plan every day, which I mean like, you know, what's happening next, what's later. I don't do that because, well, I've never been really good at it. Let's be honest, like 97.3% of the time I'm at home, so I just decide to, make stuff fresh for every meal. That's not a big deal. There's nothing wrong with that. At the times when I am out or if I'm away and it would be easier, like, oh, grab some burgers from the freezer or meatballs and do something with them. I don't have a lot of chicken, but the same thing with chicken. Steaks, steaks are steaks. You don't really pre-plan steaks. Also, why I don't do it is because all my meat comes frozen from the farm, from the butcher I get it from. So I don't like that, like thaw freeze thing. Doesn't make it go bad or anything. Makes it, I don't know. Maybe it's just hearsay. We're gonna change that up today because I do need to have some stuff on hand to just save myself some hassle and to not feel bad about, leaving older teenagers to figure out meals on their own, which they should, already know how to do. So straight up ground beef here today. There's all this for some meatballs and then some hamburger. People meal plan, their lunches for the week and all those like busy, go to work people or whatever. I obviously don't need to do that. We just kind of are a cook and leftover kind of house. For my husband, when he takes lunches, obviously, I have to make sure there's extra on those meals because he needs stuff to take to work. My meal planning involves making sure there's enough. I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Croods. They're the caveman people, and then they come across the dude who's on his own. It's the Ryan Reynolds character. They hunt and they get this beast, and they're just like savagely eating. And then he talks about leftovers, when you have too much and you save some for tomorrow. And she's like, what's leftovers? That's how I feel here a lot. 8 pounds of ground beef for burgers. That is 2 meals for us. I'm not going to pack that all together. I'll freeze them, maybe 8, maybe something reasonable, because you don't always need that much. And I have just 4 other pounds of ground beef here that I'm going to make meatballs out of. The burgers will obviously not be cooked. I'll just put them in a ball and freeze them. Meatballs I will cook first, or at least for a little bit, so they're not just a mush ball. They'll basically be the same spices and everything in both, I don't really change it up or get too fancy about it. All right, this is one of those jumbo Tupperware container bowls that are like for salads, punches, throwing up, mixing big things, the all-in-one Tupperware bowl. This is 8 pounds of ground beef in there. There's garlic, there's some paprika, there's chili powder, there's lots of salt, pepper, some dashes of Worcestershire pepper. There's some panko breadcrumbs. I haven't put anything in my burgers for a long time. Like, I don't like oatmeal and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of, they've been straight up, which have been just as fine. You can't see, but I have some cream in there, and I put these chunks are like butter to kind of add some extra kind of juiciness when they get cooked. I have no rhyme or reason to my spices for hamburgers. I don't have a recipe. Like, duh, that's obvious. All right, so here are 32 burgers. I'm pretty good at making them even for the most part, but when you get down to the last bit of hamburger and you're like, we're gonna need some more burgers here. So then you gotta like take a bit from everything. Could weigh it. If you're into that, you could go ahead and do that. I don't do that. Ground beef. For the meatballs, that's just 4 pounds. I have some pepper, salt, garlic, parsley, some basil, and oregano. I had some little bit of Dijon mustard left in the fridge, so I threw that in there for a bit of flavor. Put in a French onion dip mix just for some flavor. Sometimes I put in like Parmesan cheese. I added just 1 egg and a little bit of cream. What's 1 egg gonna do, you ask? I don't know, whatever. Here are all the meatballs. I would cook those all, well, I'm gonna cook them now, freeze them, but I'd probably use them all at once for one meal with some leftovers. How many is there? I have no idea. Take a guess. We're going to cook them at 400 degrees for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, let's say. Right, Steamy McGee. If you wanted to get real serious, you could turn them all over and get the other sides a little bit, but they're going to be cooked again. Then I will let them cool completely and then put them in the freezer. The good thing about winter is my back porch becomes like a fridge. I always put my dog food in here to cool down a bit. There's a perfect spot right here. I'll put my meatballs. Okay, did you guess how many meatballs are on the tray when we talked about it before? There's 66 and 65. Not like they needed to be half and half, but I mean, come on, I'm a little obsessive. If I just needed like a partial meal, I would just grab one, but most likely I'll have two. But this is that meal prepping thing.